All right. I'm AP from Casa Recordings. Shout out Vengeance Worldwide. Appreciate you for having us.
Yes, sir. Kaleb from Casa, you already know what it is.
Me,
Take this right.
we're both from super out of town.
Out of nowhere.
Yeah, I'm from Saskatchewan, so Saskatoon is where I grew up. But parents like split up, so growing up I split time between like the States and Saskatchewan. So
Yeah, small town up by Thunder Bay actually is where I spent most of my life. But moved to Toronto as like 17-year-old when I had to do like school and shit. Take this one first. Probably earliest it goes back is like my mom was like a piano player in a church, so like I was always kind of like around her singing, playing piano every Sunday. You know, you have to go to church and shit. But then it probably graduated to me as like a teenager. Like I played like guitars, bands. Like I didn't really get into the whole engineering and producing or anything like that till like later in life. But yeah, I was kind of always around music, doing some sort of music related thing.
yeah, kind of same for me. My like dad's side was not musical at all, but my mom's side of the family was super musical.
Facts.
And my mom has like 5 brothers and sisters, and they actually used to be like a band back in the day, like kind of like a Jackson 5 vibe. So they used to go record, be in studios and stuff. So like as soon as I was like I was always just hearing music around the house when I was growing up, and then my mom like got me into singing when I was super young, and all my cousins are like into music. They play instruments and sing and everything. So it's just like, you know, like every family gathering we have is just like a huge like concert almost type vibe. So yeah, it's just been kind of in me since I was young. I would say like personally, I think engineers and producers a lot of the time could be the same thing, because I think a true producer is just somebody that like sees a vision regardless of if they're in there making the beats or whatever. Like, you know, you even see DJ Khaled, like he's a producer. He gets the people together. He has a vision for the sound, and it ends up becoming something that not everybody could do. Not if you're just making a beat. Not to say that beat makers aren't producers and vice versa, but I think an engineer could be a producer even if they don't make the beats. And yeah, a beat maker is obviously by definition just somebody that's behind the boards making all the shit, and then an engineer would be the one that's recording and mixing and everything.
Yeah.
But I think nowadays, like,
Yeah. More times though, producers nowadays are like beat makers, like they're the same hat, but like yeah, traditionally like producer is the person with the vision. Doesn't have to be the beat maker, you know. And even for us as engineers, like you can call us vocal producers. Like, you know, we're layering different vocals, helping you do certain ad libs, like elevating what you do as a vocalist or whatever. So, you know, there's many hats.
you could go first.
Yeah. It's funny. I don't know if I ever was like, yo, I need to be an engineer. And I don't think I ever told myself I was like, yo, I'm gonna be the sickest engineer in hip hop or anything. It just kind of like happened. Like I always kind of like music, like being a part of being in the music writing process. Like I started as a producer. I haven't made a beat in like 3 years maybe, but like I always liked being a part of it. So then originally, like when I was like 17 or 18, I went to UFT, and I had like dropped out of that realizing it wasn't what I wanted to do. So I kind of had to find a new career path. So then I went to audio school, and obviously at audio school they teach you a lot about being an engineer and the technical side of things. And it's funny because like everyone wants to be a rapper, everyone wants to be a producer or beat maker, however you want to say it, but like not too many people like take that engineer role. So I kind of just, you know, fell in that.
Yeah. Kind of same as he said, like I never really thought of myself as being an engineer at all. I like started making music a couple of years ago, and then that's what kind of pushed me to go to audio school, because I just wanted to do it professionally, because where I'm from is there's no studios. It's very hard to like get a high quality, and even if you do getting a high quality recording, it's by somebody that has no hip hop experience or anything, like, you know. And I was into a certain genre, so I was like, let me learn how to do it myself. And then I ended up going to school for it. And then after school I was just working some like random jobs and shit, and it was just like, you know, I was trying to do what I could just to make money. And then I was like, maybe I could turn this shit that I do for fun, because every night I was going home and recording myself, maybe I could just make some money off it. And then I took the plunge, moved out here, and then, you know, I never even really knew what being an engineer would be, and it just kind of turned into what it is now.
That's where we met too, by the way, was audio school.
Yeah.
He was like the year after me, so.
Yeah.
It's crazy you asked this because I was literally just having this conversation for the past week.
Really?
Yeah. I
I
asked
don't know.
Eugene, I asked all these people.
No way.
Yeah.
Okay, so what are yours?
Okay, like, is it hip hop or is it anything?
Anything.
Okay. This is hard. I don't know if I can narrow it down to 3. Okay, it's gonna be weird choices. I'm not gonna lie. John Mayer, Continuum. That album, I could listen to every song probably. Like for me, a favorite album is like no skips. So you just have to play the whole record, like every track. So that's probably one. I like Black on Both Sides by Most Def. And Pearl Jam's 10. That'd be my third one.
Jeez.
See, 3 random ones.
Well, that's hard though. Me? I'm like, I think Take Care is my favorite album of all time. Like that was like the first album I ever bought by myself. I remember skipping school back. That was my first class I skipped too. I was just like, I needed to go get this album, and it ended up being like, it's just kind of what I grew up with. And then also I would say probably Graduation by Kanye. That was like a huge one when I was younger. Like that was probably the first thing that ever got me into like this type of music. And then aside from that, it's gonna be something this year, hopefully. But of all time, I don't even know. I like House of Balloons by The Weeknd a lot too. Like that was a big one because it just opened a whole new genre, like sound to me. Never heard anybody come like that before.
I was like super late listening to hip hop and shit, so I feel like I would have answered something similar to that if I wasn't like listening to so much random shit as a kid.
Yeah, that's fire though. I like, it's cool to have both backgrounds.
It's
Yeah.
understandable, different sounds and stuff like that.
Bro, it's a long list.
Yeah,
Like,
the city.
I
Where
don't
does it
even know.
start?
Like,
I mean, a lot of people know us, probably like Doobie, Little Bray, Young Smoke,
yeah,
people like that, Chromaz.
yeah, Hood Baby Peppa.
Yeah, Peppa.
We were, New Portion, Josh.
Yeah, so many people. that
Josh,
came through these.
Skirtle, KD, there's Mana, my dog Mana, OGR. There's a lot of different artists. We're working with a lot of cool people right now. KC,
yeah.
TC the God, like,
Dior. Feel bad if we leave
and
anyone
Dior, yeah,
out,
like
but
it's just
fuck,
like, I'm just trying to go through my head. Like there's a lot. We work with a lot
Don't
of,
get mad at us if we left you out.
A lot of
trust.
talented
There's so
people.
many people. We love you all.
for sure.
Yeah. You can speak on that.
Yeah, it's like, how did I end up here? Just dropped a couple weeks ago, Doovie's new project.
Check it out if you haven't.
Yeah, peep that. That's probably been my favorite thing I've got to work on so far in my career. He let me like record and mix almost every track except for one on the album, so that was fire. And it's cool to just see like people reacting to it and stuff like that. And then Lil OT. Oh yeah, I left out Lil OT. He's another artist we work with. He's dropping his project tomorrow, so that's gonna be a big one too. I'm really excited because I'm proud of that one too. So Jamesville,
Two big ones.
tap into that.
I mean, most recent project I'm working on is like about to drop. It's if you guys know New, he just dropped the first single from it, Motion Sick. So I've been recording a lot for that album. Yeah, that's probably what I'm excited for right now. Like album wise for sure. Yeah.
That's a good question. So I would say Doobie.
Yeah,
The summer with Doobie was wild. Like we were turning up. I can't lie.
yeah, I don't even know I'd have the most wild ones to be honest.
There's a lot though. It'll just be random, even like low key guys. Like even 2 nights ago, I just was telling this guy there's like 30 people in the studio. It was just hectic. I was like not prepared.
There's some crazy nights, just
for
parties,
sure.
and like I don't even know. None specifically come to mind, unfortunately. But.
I think Toronto is lacking like community support for sure. Like it seems like it's kind of everybody for themselves type shit, where it's like when I think of other cities like Atlanta, whatever, like it seems like a lot of these bigger artists will be working with the smaller artists and stuff like that, and I feel like Toronto would be in a way different place if that was the case, because there's just brackets to it. Like you see guys like Drake, Tory, and then there'd be guys like Doovie or Benji or all these guys, and if they could get a feature from somebody like that level, like the world would know about them. So it's just a matter of time. But at the same time, I feel like that makes artists out here a little bit more like cutthroat, and they have to become better before they actually pop. So that's probably why there's a reason of like there's like that's why there's such a divide. Like, you know, there's a lot of, if you take in like all the top artists in the world, like there's a lot of Toronto people,
Yeah.
you know, so you have to be really good to make it out. But I do think it would be sick if that was the case. And then also big thing like what you're doing with the interviews and stuff, I feel like we're missing that because there's only one or two platforms, and like, you know, there's a lot of stories to be told, and if more people get to see that, it's gonna be good.
Yeah. For me, it's like the infrastructure, like you said, like a lot of, like if you look at the top 100, probably a good amount of it's Toronto. Like a lot of the bigger artists come from here, and I think it's just like a newer thing for us. Like before, maybe 15 years ago, like who would represent hip hop? You know, you had like Cardinal, like, you know, certain artists like that. But now there's like this huge wave, and even then, that was maybe a couple years ago now, where that huge wave of people, Daniel Caesar, Drake, Jesse Reyes, all these people were coming out of the city and were really making waves. And I think it's just time for a new wave of that, and more of that over time will just make it better. Like if you think about LA, New York, all these places, they've been doing it for like 100 years. You know, people have been making records there, and I think it's just a new thing for us. So, like, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of good energy, but plus what he said, it's just like a little bit of divided, not necessarily like grounded here yet. But, you know, I like what we're doing. That's why we're here, you know.
Sure.
Low OT, Jamesville tomorrow, hype for that one. And then
News Oracle record.
this one, yeah, News Oracle is gonna be a movie. Like, this guy's played me some of the tracks. It's sounding crazy, like some futuristic shit.
Yeah, some
And
cool
then,
people on it too.
Yeah, there's gonna be a lot more, like
A lot of singles too. Like
a lot of singles.
not too many people focus on projects.
Yeah, Doobie's gonna be dropping another tape soon, and Deluxe too. So that's gonna be fire.
That's it.
Yeah,
A lot coming though. It never stops.
yeah, bro, it's never ending. Like we got trying to take Casa worldwide for real.
Vengeance Worldwide, Casa Worldwide.
Yeah,
you know?
no cap.
No, for
But-
sure. Recording in other cities would be really cool. You know?
Yeah.
Experiencing the voices and how they do things in other
Yeah.
other cities would be really cool.
Keep getting global. But
Obviously developing what we have here still.
Yeah,
Never
keep developing what we
you
have
know?
here,
have
but
life.
I think what we've been able to do has been cool, like in terms of like bringing artists that maybe weren't having the best studio experiences to have a great studio experience, and they may be able to see like what their tracks can really sound like. And like the cool thing about music is like there's artists all over the world everywhere. So like eventually, I don't know, I could see Casa Vancouver, Casa Saskatoon, Casa Calgary, Casa Los Angeles, Casa
Thunder Bay.
Casa Seattle, Casa Thunder Bay, Casa Australia, like fuck it, like, you know, like we could Casa Barcelona, like it could be a real thing. Like I don't know how we're gonna do it, but we could scale it. Like we have a good system, and it's just like a matter of, you know, we're just taking care of what we need to take care of right now, and hopefully 5 years down the road it'll be all over the place. Like
Even growing the community here too, though.
yeah,
You know, too, making sure we like
yeah, 100%.
make
Like
it bigger here.
Casa, we got to do a lot more. We want to do a
Grow
lot.
the team, you know, everything.
You know, start doing events and shows and stuff. Like that's another thing that would be really cool for artists out here, is to be able to like start performing the music, you know, because we get to do all the behind the scenes stuff, get the recordings aspect, but live shows is like kind of where I fell in love with music too. Like
Yeah. And it's so different when you hear the song you work out in the studio and
Yeah.
everyone's bumping to it live.
yeah, for real. So
It's really
I would
like,
say that's a big aspect too. We want to try to do some live
Yeah.
shows.
just
too.
community outreach. You know?
Mhm.
Like I think that's part of the, like what makes hip hop like really grow too.
Mhm.
You know?
Yeah. Thank you, bro.
Appreciate you.